let's say, BS, Baffles brains, the reality distortion field, and good salespeople. What are the tips and tricks? So, BS, Baffles brains. There's been a recent study which shows that anybody who's talking more, or the person who's talking more, will be seen as the leader, because they seem to be knowledgeable. The magic word is seem. And reality distortion field is something similar. Only reality distortion field started with Steve Jobs. And Steve Jobs had really good charisma, really good selling skills. So in his case, the reality distortion field would be that when he's in your company, he can sell you anything and everything, and it'll be only after a certain amount of time where you will get buyer's remorse. You'll be like, what did I just agree to? And a lot of people felt like that when you read his autobiography. Now, bullshit Baffles brains, or BS Baffles brains, is something from a pickup artist called Mystery. And he's just like, you just say things and try and connect them, and people will start believing in you. And a good example is Robert Cialdini in his book Influence. He says, when you ask, for example, someone tried to ask to cut in line, people didn't let them. But when you ask, oh, can I cut in line because, and then just make up the stupidest of excuses. They made silly excuses, and still, just because of that, because they're just like, oh, this person has something valid that they've offered me. I have grown up with talkers. I mean, talkers. So let's break them down. Talker number one, amazing storyteller. I mean, my friends, everybody, we would just be sat there. The only thing is, because I heard the stories thousands of times, the same whole story, only the version changed depending on their convenience or whatever they felt the story was right at that time. But it was so captivating, the style of speaking, the cadence, because there's a lot of pauses, there's a break, there's this, there's that. Excitement happens, then it's suddenly quiet. So that's one style. And then we have a really good salesperson. A good salesperson will not only try to sell you on pain, but they will also try to sell you on pleasure. So they will use both sides of the push and pull. So say trying to sell you a house, they'll show you a chart. They'll be like, look, you're scared of buying, but imagine how much time you're going to waste. You're already 20. Say you have only 60 more years left. Out of those 60, 8 are for sleeping, 8 are for family. So only 8 you're working and you're making that money. So 8 times this, and BS Baffles brains, and then they're like, oh, that's the pain principle. I'm going to feel the pain if I don't buy the house now. Pleasure side? Imagine, like, once you buy this house, you're going to start getting your own income. Even though they're not, because that money is going to go into maintenance of all kinds of bills and whatnot. They sell them the pleasure principle. Just think of just that you are getting income. Of course, in the long term you will. The property value is going to double in 7 years. That's always a guarantee. Sure. So, and this person, their talking style is more drony, more nasal, more. The other thing is they will constantly talk because you should not be given a chance to think. You should not be given a chance to see a bigger picture, a different angle. So in these cases, if ever you are told to make a decision there and then, your answer is, if I'm forced to make a decision, it's always going to be no, because I like to make sure I've considered all factors. Or this is such a big purchase, there's no way I can give you an answer now. And most people are simple. Even though I feel like I'm pretty sharp and catching these, I have been caught out on some of these every now and then when my guard is down. I'll share a link down on the power of saying no. Keep practicing on how to say no in different ways. My favorite, I will let you know. That means I'm not promising them any time. I can take whatever time I want, but I'll let them know. Another thing is, right now, younger people are falling for these BS, baffle brain kind of people. Especially because when you're young, you realize that your blood still has that fire in it. You want to fight, you want to laugh at people getting beaten and things like that. And that's where you're at. That's where you are at, and that's fine. But when you pick a leader who's like that, there's a guy, he sounds very similar to Taint. I like to call him Taint because that's what he behaves like, a really big gooch. No real solid man is going to keep talking how big and how awesome and how this, how that they are. That is a hip-hop style of living. And I'll give you an example, and think about it like this. Gangsters, the real gangsters, the real people pull the strings. They will not be talking anything. They will not be confessing, making confessions on their video. They make movements sitting. They don't try and get attention with fast supercars and this cars. All these people I see showing off with how much they have are really such big losers, because there's two ways to think of it. Either you become a person that gives value to the things you own. Gandhi, the slippers and the robes he wore, those are valuable because he became such a valuable person. Or you get things of value, surround yourself with them, and act like that. And I've seen it firsthand how much it's never going to fill that hole in you. It's such a drug addiction to things, to shiny things, to constantly talking. There's a movie called Three Idiots where he's compared to a price tag donkey. Don't be a price tag donkey, because every sentence, everything you're talking about is, oh, my $3,000 shoes, oh, my $3,000 mattress. This and that. Can't talk without putting some figures around your conversation. To the people who have this need to talk constantly, why do you think that is? I just finished Will Smith's book, and he is such a talker, especially because that is what kept the peace at home. Being the entertainer, being the person who sells things, this and that. I've noticed in my life, the people who are talking so much, especially this, I that, they were trying to divert the gaze for people to notice something deeper. And most people fell for it. Even now, there's someone in my life, the situation they've grown up in, all of them are the same. They need to talk about how awesome they are constantly, or they need to talk about other people's flaws. They need to make fun of other people's flaws, because that's whatever was in their soup of self-esteem. They need to either put someone down to make them feel like they're a bit higher, or they need to big talk themselves more than what they actually did or they are. When I was learning languages, you realize very quickly that most of these communication, as they say, it's like 80% is non-verbal. You can understand what is being said without people using the words or just watching them. These new age mentors and heroes have come on the internet, on social media, and a lot of them have a lot of good information. This is the other thing. Even though there's BS baffles brains, there's also a lot of value in what these people are giving, but you have to be able to separate the value from the crap they give, because nobody's perfect. I'll give you a recent disappointment I've had was Jordan Peterson. When I first discovered him, I was like, this guy is the man. But like I said before, I can figure out patterns very quickly, and I was like, okay, so his style of talking is it's also this, but it's also this. So you have to do this. BS Baffles brains. He does have amazing rules, and I'll share a link to what I've found the most valuable. But then I had to separate the Jordan Peterson I love from the Jordan Peterson on Twitter, because on Twitter he turned out to be the same person he says, the weak character person. That's what he turned out to be. I'm not going to lock it in on him that he is now a twat or he's just useless and this and that, because most of the time, if you notice, he does his tweeting after he's traveled for hours and he's drained. He just wants some quick reading. Out of all places, Twitter is not the best place. And it's all about prana. His prana is so low that only the negative side. I will share a link on the chakra stuff below, which will explain why you go through ups and downs in your life. But back to communication. This pleasure and pain principle moves nearly everything. In Hindu texts and Ayurveda, they call it craving and aversion, push and pull. So I like simplifying things, so I've simplified it even further. It's just one word: desire. Either the desire is for something or the desire is against something. But that force is still the same, it's desire. When someone talks to you, see what they're doing. Actually, read this summary for the book called Influence, and it tells you so many studies and steps of how people have such a big pull on whatever choices you made in your life. Nearly all the choices you've made in your life, it's because of someone wearing a uniform, it's because of some special colors they've used, all sorts. To me, I've always felt the real boss is the one quiet, while his lackeys are the ones who do all the barking. And you know how they say, bark is worse than the bite? So I had this other person in my life. Their talking style was very much like Trump. So Trump style, let's break it down. You'll see Trump style talking is a lot of repeating. Amazing. It's beautiful. When you repeat a lie long enough, people start believing it. I'm never going to look at what you tell me. I'm going to look at your actions. And the actions had no integrity compared to the words. Talking about how they're doing things like, I'm doing sword fighting, it's so healthy for me. But you're obese still. You still have like 3-4 health issues. And then you still want to make fun of people actually doing the real work. So why would you make fun of your friend who has studied physical fitness and makes an effort to do some physical fitness wherever he was? But look, study your conversations, get clever with what choices you're making, learn how to say no. That no is a very big one. I'm going to share a few links on talking styles, how to talk to people, different tips and tricks, and also how to argue, how to discuss difficult matters or dealing with difficult people also. Any questions, as always, feel free to ask and I'll get back to you ASAP. Really good sailings. Okay, let's pass this rough area. Man, I had something to tell you which was so nice and now I can't remember it.